When I was 10, I went trick-or-treating with all my friends. We trick-or-treated around the neighborhood and we had a good night. We went home through the back alley by the creek, and all of us had arrived at my best friend's house and my other best friend, Bobby and Lori. And there were about 10 other kids with us when this happened. We got to Lori's house and we were all standing around the back. They had a sunflower garden back there. There was a blanket covering something by the sunflower garden. We couldn't see it. It was dark. The blanket suddenly out from underneath it jumped a very, very creepy and scary old man yelling at us. I was so scared. I couldn't even hear what he was yelling. But I do know all of us kids ran home and did not come out again at all for quite a while. This old man had terrified us. I seen his face. I didn't know what he looked like. When I was 27, I had a dream. And in this dream, I was sitting in the front of a white van that had white Venetian blinds on both sides of it, covering the windows. When I looked in the rearview mirror because I wanted to see where I was at, all I could see was blood spatter from front to back on the ceiling, on the Venetian blinds. There was an old man in this van, and he was chopping up a virgin. Her name was Elizabeth. Also, she was known as Pumpkin. She had a friend that was there with her that night, and the friend would survive because the friend was not a virgin. And her name is Jamie. I went there that night because somebody was gonna die, and it was this Elizabeth Pumpkin. She died on Colorado Avenue, also known as Manitou Avenue, in the back of that van. I had an angel that was guarding me that night. The old man turned around and he seen me sitting in his seat, and he did not look happy. He rushed me and he kicked me out of the van. And then I got up and I started running because he started chasing me like he was going to run me over with this van. I went into a phone booth that was there. I dialed 911 and then I woke up. 6 months after I had that dream, there was a Friday the 13th. And a friend of mine and me decided to go out to Manitou to have some drinks. And we drove around Manitou that night, and you could feel something thick in the air that you could cut with a knife. I mean, it was dark, and it was very, very ominous. And we went to a place called the Turnaround, and we turned the car around, and we were going to stop and just have a beer real quick, but we decided not to because my friend that was driving me, she got the same feeling that I had, and she was absolutely terrified. I had my prayers in God, but she hadn't quite got to that point yet. When I had that other dream about that old man, I did wake up from it. She was a neighbor, and she came to my house, and I was able to tell her about that dream. I described that old man and everything to her. This was in the late 90s that I had the dream, 97. And 6 months after that, this is what happened. We went and decided not to go to the bars. We just decided, you know what? Maybe we should just go home. It's Friday the 13th. Who knows? So we did. And we started traveling. And we left Manitou Springs. And we were driving towards 30th Street to go home. And while we were driving down there, me and Linda both seen a white van, and we both remembered the dream I had 6 months prior to that. So we drove up to this white van to look in it to see who was in it. It was the old man that I had seen in my dream that had murdered somebody in that white van. And this old man, he looked back at us, and I mean, he grimaced at us like he was possessed, by the devil or something. I mean, it was pretty darn creepy. It wasn't Friday the 13th, but we could see it very clearly. And we were pretty shook, so we went home. As far as we could tell, he didn't follow us, but that was the last time I seen him until 2018. So from 97 till 2018, I maybe seen him one time, and it was at someone's house. And I don't know, there was some weird activity going on there. I didn't stay long. And that would have been in the 2002, 2001, somewhere in there, maybe 2003, that I did see him at that house, because I was living somewhere near his little hotel room or whatever it was. At any rate, I didn't see him from then until 2018. And in 2018, I met this person at the community center where I go to get food and stuff for my family. And I also met Vince there at the community center. They were both there. And this old man did not look like the old man from my childhood, from the dream, or even from the old man that was sitting in it was like I want to say a hotel room, but it wasn't. It was like a shack. But it was near hotels. At any rate, he didn't look like he did back then at all. Like something had completely changed about him to where he didn't look like that evil old man in the back of the van murdering a virgin. Not at all. So I did talk to him because he was very kind. He seemed to have light all around him. He seemed like he was well put together. And he did seem very spiritual as far as his connection with God went. Vince didn't seem as spiritually connected as Mark was, but he was definitely spiritually connected. And what I mean is that he wasn't connected in the same way Mark was. So I had been friends with Mark, and I did not realize that Mark was that same old man, just because he looked so different. I mean, when people use beauty magic and that sort of thing, they can make themselves and disguise themselves any way they want to. Especially if they're a shapeshifter. They can change into any shape. They can change into any face. They can change into your face. Or mine. They can. And they do. I've been having a really hard time last couple of weeks with my throat. I've been woken up in the middle of the night, 3 o'clock in the morning. Feels like a freaking crane clamping down on my head. It's been rough, but I'm surviving it. Might as well. At any rate, in 2018, Mark had told me so many things about myself that he knew about me that I didn't even know. That I had asked him some questions about my past because he was telling me that I was psychic, so on and so forth. So I asked him about that dream of that old man. I said, do you have any idea who that old man is? And he said, oh yeah, somebody called 911 and he got busted. See, there was somebody there in that van. It was probably the owner of the van. And Mark, to avoid getting in trouble for committing murder and human sacrifice and getting caught doing that, he hijacked some man in a van. And because he had shapeshifted into that person. Mark looked like some evil, old man to me. I wasn't seeing like his true form. I was seeing the dark shadow form of him, which is why he was so different when I met him and I didn't even know. But I did mention that to him, and he told me that old man had to go to prison for that crime because the police had caught him because someone called 911 and they didn't know who. It's strange having this person do the things he did to me, Mark, in my lifetime. He popped out of the bushes at me on a Halloween. He was just there doing weird shit. And I didn't suspect it when I seen him because he did look so different. But I noticed that something changed about him when I told him my little story, or his little story, really. He looked pissed. He looked angry. He felt angry. And he was angry. Because this is a secret he never wanted anybody to find out. And once this secret is released into the world, this person is going to get dealt with because this person did a lot of horrible things to a lot of innocent victims. He did. And I did witness at least one of his crimes. I did. I know the girl's name. I know the name of the girl that was with her. I even know where Jamie's cousin works. These people who got murdered, they didn't deserve to die. This girl was a virgin. She was out, sneaking out, having a good time that night until Mark decided he needed to have a sacrifice to pay the devil. And that's why I showed up that night. I'm someone who can see and hear and deliver messages. I know some of my messages are very dangerous to deliver, but you have to remember some of these messages are coming in from the past, and these messages that come in from the past are trying to warn the people of today that there's a curse on them because of what they did in the past, so that company or that group or whatever can understand that this is something that happened in the past, that their group or company participated in, and they're paying the karma and the curse for it today. There's messages from the future for people that are living right here and now, because everybody that's here on this earth lives on a different timeline, in a different reality. That's the way this earth is designed. When you close one door, you open up a new door. I did find out what the deal was with Mark, and he knows what his deal is. He knows he's in judgment, and he knows he's going to have to answer for all of those innocent victims. That he took their lives and ended it so that he could have, a better life or better karma or someone's blessings. It doesn't matter. These people deserve to have their stories heard and told. And these stories, confirmation, constant. These stories are going to float around a tarot until justice is served. There isn't anything any of us can do about it. Don't shoot us. We're just the messengers. We're delivering the messages from the living and from the dead, and vice versa. Whoever's helping me get my messages out, I'm very grateful to you. Thank you. Because right now, they're trying to silence me. They're trying to make it so where I can't even, talk. I've had my throat choked up for days. It's been difficult. I've had to write signs. I don't know. But I am doing my best to find, a balance